Well, hello, folks. It's your old pal, King Krampus, and welcome to day 9 of 31 Days of Halloween with your pal, King Krampus. Today, our film is a real scary one. I mean, it's pretty horrifying, and it's Star Trek Section 31, starring Michelle Yeoh and possibly the worst thing she's ever been in. It's a close call, because she also was in Star Trek Discovery. Now, the 2 times I've tried watching this movie, I only was kind of like forced to finish it this time since I was recording chunks of it. And I still can't really quite tell you what it was about. Doomsday device, and interdimensional portals having to be closed, questionable directing and writing decisions. You know, the par for Kurtzman-era Star Trek. And I guess I largely just chose it so I had an excuse to talk a little bit about modern Star Trek. I started having misgivings as soon as I heard that J.J. Abrams was making Star Trek 2009. I saw that movie in the theater opening weekend. Was pretty aghast at the fact that they just up and like blew up Vulcan, and everyone around me and online saying like, oh, what great casting all these people are, when it wasn't. Carl Urban is very obviously acting and doing an impression, which is not a bad impression, but it's still a dude doing an impression. Chris Pine's Kirk and the writers like understand a translated stereotype about Captain Kirk that they gleaned from other people, but that wasn't what Kirk was actually like. The stereotype of him being the womanizing renegade was not real. It was kind of a joke. There's like maybe a couple episodes where he banged a green lady, and like he stole a starship once in the fucking movies, not the original series. Plenty of people have commented on the paradox of Zachary Quinto's constantly angry fisticuffs favoring Spock. I don't really care for their Sulu. I don't like their Uhura. I mean, sadly, like the only person who actually thought did an honestly good job was Anton Yelchin as Chekhov, and look what happened to him. But, you know, these are just movies, whatever. The movies have never been quite the same as TV show Star Trek, because studios have these fucking formulas that they're convinced that general modern retarded audiences have to have fulfilled in order for them to show up and sit down at a movie. So I'm willing to overlook that, as long as the TV shows are still actually real Star Trek. But it seemed like pretty much the line was once Majel Barrett was dead, there was no one around anymore to really keep a proper eye on things. Gene Roddenberry's son has clearly been more interested in cashing checks than actually making sure that people are honoring his father's vision. I guess in that sense, Christopher Tolkien turned out to be a better son than either Gene Roddenberry's kid, I can't remember what his first name is, or Brian Herbert, as another example of people who've ultimately did their daddy's works wrong. I tried really hard to like stick through and like hope Discovery got better. I mean, Star Treks are famous for having somewhat awkward first seasons and all that, especially TNG. And you know, there's some things people had complained about that show that, you know, were a little overblown. In particular, like a lot of the stuff people complained about Michael Burnham's characterization didn't bother me, because looking at her as a human being raised on Vulcan and the sort of attitude one would have to develop in order to be able to thrive and push back against all that nonsense, yeah, you kind of probably would get someone who acts a bit like Michael Burnham. None of that shit bothered me. It was the lackluster understanding or interest in actual science, bringing in a mushroom scientist as your science consultant for your show instead of hiring a physicist like Michio Kaku or even Neil deGrasse Tyson. It would have been a better choice, but no, they went with a mushroom scientist and then have a ship that teleports across the universe on invisible intergalactic mycelial filaments. with giant tardigrades. And tonally it was bad, and a few characters here and there are alright. Here and there are these glimmers of good ideas, but it just never gelled because the people making it not only didn't understand Star Trek, but they all came about in an era when, disruption was a big buzzword for corporations, and so they had this idea. A couple of Marvel movies were kind of famous for doing this too, where the directors they look for to make these things are people who actively did not like the stuff. They don't want to bring in a guy to make a Wolverine movie who fucking loves Wolverine and read all the Wolverine comics. No, they want someone who can come in and think outside of the box. Because they don't give a shit about the core nerd audience. Like, somewhat in the way that, like, the NFL kind of fucks with its audience with some of the decisions it makes. Knowing that, all these people are simps for football, and they're going to show up and watch it no matter how many breast cancer months or Bad Bunny halftime shows they have, because they have the product that people want. And I guess they figure that in much the same way various nerd properties that have been turned into ongoing franchise IPs, they have the same kind of thing. It's like, these nerds, they might not like what we're doing with Marvel and the MCU right now, but we're the only game in town if they want to see Captain America, so they're just going to have to fucking suck it. And kind of the same thing with Star Trek, I mean, they're always chasing the mythical young audience anyway, because they want people who haven't formed brand loyalty. Plus, there's got to be some sort of monetary angle where, the more the modern creatives of a new series can put their own stamp on things to say that they made this by, in many cases, just altering something that already existed enough that you can say, well, it's got 5 different points different on it, so this makes it my creation. So they can kind of in their own ego brain elevate themselves to be as equal to or higher than the original creative powers behind Star Trek or whatever the franchise in question is. It just all leads to something that doesn't do a good job at translating what Star Trek is about. It doesn't get it, and isn't going to get it, and it's annoyed the fan base. And I couldn't really quite get all the way through season 2 of Discovery before having to kind of just tap out. Star Trek Picard also, that was rough. I've been real hit and miss on sticking with trying to watch through Strange New Worlds, even though I do acknowledge that it is technically better. But better than terrible is still bad. I do like Lower Decks. The first season was rough. I'd made a video talking about it, and then watched the second season, and I swear it seemed like someone there had actually watched my video, because a lot of the things I complained about seemed to have been addressed as the show moved forward. Now, I doubt that was the case. At most, I get, 40 of you motherfuckers to actually watch my shit. So I highly doubt that anyone there at Paramount had seen my video and taken it seriously. But coincidentally, they did seem to make a few adjustments that I would have wanted to have seen, so moving on from that point, I've been overall satisfied. The idea of them trying to do a live-action follow-up to it, I'm a bit more quizzical about. It works as a cartoon, but I'm not sure that we really need a live-action Star Trek farce. I mean, that already kind of exists anyway with the Orville, theoretically. So, anyway, I guess I already talked about all this terrible Star Trek shit for 10 minutes now, so let's actually sit and watch Section 31 and see what we think. fine, I'll watch it. Jesus. Assholes. Finally. It's an hour and a half you're not going to get back, so be glad that you just got to watch a fast-forwarded, miniaturized version of it and save yourself some time of actually trying to ingest this visual audio entertainment product yourself. Do I recommend it? No, not even as like a bad good watch. Go like check out Ice Pirates or something if you want that. So there goes day 9 of 31 Days of Halloween with your pal King Krampus. Be sure to check with us tomorrow for another Halloween-themed movie for us to go over. In the meantime, hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment below, hit the bell, hype the video. Check out the description box below for a link in order to support the channel by purchasing an actual product and not just giving a YouTuber money for nothing. And until next time, stay crappinated! While I still have you here, if you're looking for more of a tongue-in-cheek version of the Star Trek stereotype, might I suggest We Want Soviet Men, where you can play as comrades on your comrade starship exploring the stars. It's a source book for Escape from Planet Matriarchy, the very first original Total Party System rulebook, where players take on the roles of 20th century astronauts who are shot 500 years into the future to crash land on the moon of Titan to discover the nightmare society that has evolved there, both of which can be found in the Vintage Future RPG, available now on Amazon.com in print, or Drive-Thru RPG for a PDF.